podcast setup. So this is what I use for podcasts virtually.
I
But
like it.
you're in Fresno, right?
I am. Yep, I'm in Fresno. That's right.
Heck yeah, that's even better, man. But what you got going on?
Well, I'm running, this junk removal business, which keeps, me and my wife pretty busy. So, been doing this for almost 2 years now. So, you know, um, looking to add in, real estate investing now, and pretty excited about that.
Heck yeah. I mean, junk removal's great because if you're going to be real estate investing, you're going to have to do some hauls. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty true.
Yeah, but so what are you trying to do right now in the investing stuff? Or like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, on the investing side right now, what I've been doing is just kind of like evaluating some opportunities when we come across them in the junk removal business side of things. Looking to like kind of present opportunities to some of the clients that obviously, would be in a situation where they'd be interested in like selling for cash. So I haven't closed the deal yet. We got really close on one about, I want to say 2 weeks ago, but we weren't able to make a deal with them. So now I'm considering maybe starting to do like some marketing, but I haven't really made any progress in setting up anything in terms of
Yeah.
systems or pulling lists or anything like that yet.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. That's where we all start. What are you thinking of doing, like for the marketing?
Um, what I was thinking of doing was, like getting some lists and setting aside a couple of days a week to do cold calls until
Mhm.
I felt comfortable enough to maybe train someone else to do them. um, I'm not really sure that I should jump right into like having like someone else do them like a VA without having a full understanding of the process myself. But I also am trying to recognize that I have time constraints with running the business and trying to effectively start another business at the same time. So that is a
Yeah.
bit challenging for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, man, I would just recommend trying to do it for like a month. Or
Mhm.
just enough time for you to be like, all right, I got enough leads. I generally know the data now of like, here's how many leads or dials you have to make a day to get this many leads. And so like now you can train someone, say, here's your goal, here's your expectation. Um, and just like go at it. And then you still have to kind of it's not like you just let them run free. You have to be giving them feedback and training them, role playing, stuff like that. But yeah, I think that would be a good start. Is like because I think you have to have some understanding of like how does this work, how these conversations go.
100%. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the goal for me. But I don't really know. Like you said, I like the input of like trying it out for a month to like
Mhm.
get a good feel for it, and like you could say like, okay, I got some data together, and this is how many calls I made before we got some kind of some traction, so I can have an understanding of how much effort it's going to take to get one. And then also really trying to develop a system in my current business so that there's a way to reliably make offers when it's appropriate for the situations that we come into pretty often,
Mhm.
and then learning how to convert them more reliably too.
Mhm. Exactly, dude. No, I think you're in the right spot, man. Oh, are you thinking of like are you in a stage where you're like, "I'm ready to start this now?" Or are you just kind of like you're not sure? Where are you at?
No, I'm definitely in a stage where I'm ready to start this now.
Cool.
I do want to start taking action. I'm not like, just, oh, I just want to think about it and over analyze and plan. Like I'm ready to actually do some stuff to make, progress. And I do want to get a deal before the end of the year for sure.
Nice. Nah, you'll do it, man. Okay, so if you want to cold call, let's see. Different ways you can get people's phone numbers to call. Like easiest, not yeah, easiest, not the cheapest way to do it is to get some kind of data provider. There's actually a free one. I think it's called PropWire. But there's also paid ones like
Mhm.
PropStream, Batch Leads, stuff like that. It's about $100 a month, just around there. Those are great. I use PropStream myself, but if you're like, no, we want to test the waters, PropWire could be good, or you could get them for free from a title company. Um, some reps will be very friendly and helpful. You just have to tell them, hey, like, can you pull like this, like, or how specific can you get in your criteria? You could ask them, okay, can you pull like, oh, absentee owners, high equity people, like, what can you filter? And then they would give you the list. It wouldn't be skip trace, so it wouldn't have the phone numbers. And from there, you can skip trace from to find the phone numbers. In my experience, everything is all kind of the same, no matter the price point. Like legitimately, with 12 cents a skip, 3 cents a skip, 25, they're all like kind of the same.
Okay.
So the cheapest one, and it's pretty good, kind skip tracing, like KIND. That's a solid one. Or if
Okay.
you could just use whatever you come across, it doesn't really matter, but just skip it. Um, and then from there, it's just making the calls. And if you are limited on the time, for sure, get a dialer. Like it's going to be totally worth it. Have you used one before?
No, but I've heard of a couple like Mojo Dialer,
Yeah.
Batch Dialer. There's a couple, right, like that.
Yeah, no, I've used it a couple. I've used Mojo, Call Tools, and then I've used so Mojo, Call Tools, and then now I'm using Ready Mode. I really like Ready Mode, but it's not user friendly. Like it's probably not the best first styler.
Okay.
Mojo's super user friendly. Like you get it. Like it's very clear in how it works. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be so much easier because instead of you having the hand dial, you can use like triple line dialer. So it'll call three people at once, and it'll just speed the process up a ton. Like maybe to give you an example, with for me, like a little bit before this call, I was doing cold calling myself on a live for the YouTube and stuff. I did
Uh-huh.
it for like 25 minutes. We got a lead out of it, which was cool. But for every 5 minutes, I noticed we were calling about like 50 dials. So in
Mhm.
about 30 minutes, it's like 300 dials, and then 600 for the hour. So like that's the speed at which you can call people with the dialer. And even some dialers you can crank it up. Like mine, it goes up to 12. I'm not using that for a solo person because then you just miss out on a lot of calls. Like you know,
Right.
but that gives you a little bit of perspective on like how much you can probably call.
Okay. Yeah, I always kind of wondered about that because I haven't, used any of the dialers before. I was always like, okay, so if you're talking about a triple dialer, that's you can make three calls at once, and then
Mhm.
the odds are most likely in those like one person's going to be answering. I mean, I just wondered what happened if like two people answer at the same time, or how it like actually
Yeah,
dials it out.
yeah, no. So that's exactly how it works. It dials three at once, and if two people answer, for example, the first person who picks up, that's who you talk to. The other person, they're called abandoned. So I think it just like goes blank on them, and then your dialer will call them again later. Um, but the reason why triple line dialer is so popular is like it's a perfect sweet spot to where you're not abandoning too many calls. As you go up, you'll start to abandon a lot more calls. So that's how the dialer works. Now, if you're using a dialer, this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Actually, I would get multiple numbers, like not just one number, not just one Google Voice number, but like there's different things you can use. A lot of times the dialers will actually have numbers or like maybe an affiliate for numbers that you can get from local
Okay.
to your area with a 559 zip code
Hmm.
and get at least 30. Like I swear. Or just get 30. 30 is a solid number. I'm using 30 right now. Because if you use one and you're calling so many people that fast, you're marked as spam like instantly.
It's going to get flagged.
Yeah, flagged, no one answers. Um, versus, I don't know if Mojo does this, but a lot of dialers, they'll rotate the numbers. So if you have 30 numbers, every single call, it's a different number calling. So then they have some like rest time to not be flagged. So that's a, like, for sure, do that.
Okay. What does it cost roughly to get to get a number? Because if I'm buying like 30 of
Yeah.
them, what could I expect to pay?
For me, I paid $30 to initiate or get the numbers, and then $30 a month to keep the numbers. So
Okay.
not too bad.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Um, so that's the like the marketing channel that I've, kind of thought of to use to get started. Obviously I know there's more. I know that there's, more paid marketing strategies and well, like for a rookie like myself, what else would you recommend trying, or would you even recommend me just solely focusing on just cold calling for that first month and then,
I'd
deciding change later?
I'd probably just do cold calling because of your time constraint. Like
Okay.
you want to dedicate enough time for you to truly learn that one skill versus if you're trying to cold call and doing a text campaign and doing MLS, like it's going to be really hard. Like you'll barely get any of each. Um so yeah, I would go all in on that cold calling like simply because your time. If you had a lot more time, I might say, try two. Try two of them. Maybe a free version like maybe cold calling and MLS, cold calling and reaching out to wholesalers if you're buying. I don't Are you wholesaling or what do you want to do?
Yeah, primarily I'm wholesaling. I do
Also,
want to progress into actually fix and flipping, so
yeah.
it could be in the future to buying from wholesalers.
Yeah, so either mix of cold calling and on-market stuff or cold calling and even maybe texting, but that can get expensive, if you do both if you're new. So Yeah, I think you're fine. Just go all in on the calling.
Just getting lists and just cold
Yeah.
calling myself.
Yeah, and then now, like, you have the information now to succeed, I think. I think you got all of it. And it's really now, like, once you start calling, just look at the data. Like, there's gonna be a section in Mojo or whatever dialer you choose, to have all your dialer data, your dialer reports. So you'll start to see, like, just read the report after you do a call session, and then you can see, "Oh, okay, maybe I called 1,000 people. Here's how many people answered, so that's my answer rate. Here's how many people it went to voicemail. Here's how many people I connected to, so I actually talked to." It just gives you a good perspective. Here's how many numbers were not in service. Because if you just look at over week by week, then by the time you start to train someone, if their numbers are not up to your level, you're like, huh, like maybe you're just not call maybe they're not calling enough. Maybe they're just really bad on the phone, so people hang up so much faster. Maybe their accent's too strong. Like that's when you learn that stuff is because you've done the work. And you can compare something.
Totally. Okay. Um, yeah, I think I do have a small advantage and when I do get to the point of hiring a VA, because we just did it for our junk removal business phone. So
Nice.
we got a call center together so that they can start answering phones for a rep for us. And I
Oh,
was
cool.
able to develop a cool little system to, test out if they have, stronger, weaker accent and all that kind of stuff. So when I do get to that point, hopefully I'll be able to get some really quality VAs on board with us.
Love it, man. This is a weird tip too. I think this is pretty common with like a lot of. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. I think it's pretty common actually with a lot of other investors I run into, and including myself.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, the female cold callers and VAs, they'll perform a lot better. I don't know why. I think people stay on the phone longer. Like legitimately, I think that's why. If they don't have the thick accent of wherever they're from, um, like a weird tip, but it's true. Like you can't deny the data.
Yeah, our rep that we just hired is she's female, and I kind of agree. I think that even for myself, if I was to get a cold call from a female, I think I might stay on the phone a little bit longer
A
to
little bit,
listen. Or
a
yeah,
little bit. Yeah,
I would. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. So, cool. Okay, so I mean, I think that's a good, like, solid, like, actionable step to go
Yeah,
for like a month of cold calls to like learn just what it feels like to do it and like operating a dialer, which I haven't done yet,
yeah.
and like you know getting different lists. I mean, is there like I mean there's a lot of information out there in terms of like what lists to use and go after. I
Mhm.
mean, do you have any recommendation in terms of like what kind of lists to kind of target at the beginning just to
Yeah.
you know general range?
So at the beginning, I would for sure try to overlap as many criteria as you can because you'll end up with like a list of like 50 people, 100 people, super small compared to like the 500,000 people that live here. And when you do that, you just attack that list hard and it's going to be the cheapest method. Plus, like, it's going to be super effective. Might not work, the first time, but literally call these people 10. For me, I try to call everyone 10 times before I give up and they don't answer 10 times. That's when I just remove them from the list. But yeah, call them that much, text them too, knock the doors if you want. Um, but yeah, attack those lists. So like you can filter everything that you think could lead into it being a good deal or like distress situations. Like you might target high equity, absentee owner, maybe even like all the lien, like every single lien, all the utility liens, all of the property tax liens. Like just see what's there, and there's probably going to be a small amount of them. So just like try to do that, be super targeted, just because if your time is limited, you want to be spending your time on the people who you think might have the best chance. That was what worked best for me and a lot of other people when starting out. And then over time, you just start to use like everyone. You just call everyone.
Okay, so just is that kind of like that's like stacking a list with these different
Yes.
filters to kind
Yes.
of be like, okay, these all these different things line up for this list, and so there's more likely to be a situation where they'd be selling or doing a cash
Yes.
sale.
Like, for example, what if I stacked a list of someone with a lot of equity in the home, so high equity, let's say I wanted to target occupant, let's say I want to target an older person, so someone who's owned the home for like 35 years or more, two-story home, maybe they're tired of being in the house, all the liens, like any kind of, um, child support stuff, like anything. and that would give me a really small list, like a couple people. You just call those people. So that's a really easy way to start. But I would say also don't overthink it too. Like the whole goal of that is just target it enough and just go ham at the calling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me the most important thing is just going to be like one foot in front of the other, just
Yeah.
getting started, just taking some action that's going to put me in a, different environment that I can learn in,
Hmm.
just like learn from the experience and doing it. Um Aside from like if, say I go ahead and I run with this and I go do a month of cold calling,
Hmm.
maybe I make some progress, get some potential leads, nothing comes of it in a month. Um, I'm still in the same position, time constraint wise, with my business. You know, what at that point do I just continue to stick with this one, thing and continue to focus on it? Would you recommend doing anything else to, try to alter my results?
No, yeah, I would give it time because it takes time. Like even if you're calling 8 hours a day, like it would
Hmm.
still take some time.
Yeah.
For the most part, cold calling, it's yeah, it's the cheapest, but it's also the one that typically is the one that's going to take a little bit more time to get started. Like you might take 3 months, maybe more. For me, it was like 6. For a lot of my friends, it was like 9.
Hmm.
This it's just different for everyone. Um, Now, if you do it for a month and you're confident, and I don't know if you would be confident. I think the confidence comes from, like, getting leads over and over again consistently and then finding someone's like, "Oh, like, this is a deal. Like, I know this one." That's usually where the confidence comes from, and I think at that point where you feel that is the point that you should get a VA.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't know how long it'll take for you. It might be a month, 2, 3, just whenever the confidence comes.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. Um, and then so my other like source of leads, I feel like that are quality come from like my junk removal business.
Mhm.
For example, we'll get in front of a client that contacts us because their mother passed away, and they live out of town, and the home's just kind of full of all of their belongings, and they even mention to us sometimes, we're needing to get the house cleared out because we're going to sell it. um, I haven't been able to develop like a good maybe like script strategy approach or timing in order to like present the option that we could make an offer on the house.
Mhm.
I mean, do you have any advice in terms of like how to like frame that?
Yeah.
Is it inside of our business? Is it like, hey, I also do this, or I also work with people that do that? I've tried a little bit of different things, all kind of with the similar results of kind of like, we're not there yet type of a
Yeah.
thing.
I think it just depends on how those leads are coming to you. So for your junk removal, are they like are you putting ads out and they're coming to you? Are you cold calling them? Like how are you getting them?
Yeah, all of our work is all there. It's all inbound from ads,
Mm,
primarily like Google PPC or local service ads, or just organic stuff from our website, um, home magazine that we mail out. So
okay.
all different avenues of advertising that we're doing. So they're coming into us, but they're contacting us for junk removal specifically.
Oh, that's perfect because they're kind of warm in that case. And so I honestly like just sneak in the question as they maybe even if they don't maybe you can sneak it into your script even if they don't mention about selling the home, but like maybe near the end of like once you've already know that you're going to solve their main problem or they already maybe kind of agreed to work with you tentatively or have agreed, just sneak in the question, hey, like what are you going to do with the home? Like are you actually going to sell it or are just cleaning out the house, like, I don't know the situation. I don't wanna bother too much. Like, something simple like that near the end, super easy, and they're like, "Actually, yeah, we're trying to sell this thing." So it's conversational. It could be a one sentence added to your script near the end. I would definitely do it after you talked about your junk removal, because then you can say something like, "Oh, cool, clean this out, but, like, what's happening with the house?" Something as simple as that.
Okay. Yeah. So you think it's better to kind of approach them once we've, at least agreed to do business together, already have completed work, um, and then kind of trying to make that transition at that point.
They're warmer for sure. I mean, not necessarily like they have to have agreed, but, like, maybe that they for sure want junk removal. Maybe if it's not right now, maybe it's a little later.
Hmm.
Um, but you can still sneak in the script like, "Hey, I know we're gonna clean out the house, but what's gonna happen to it?" That could be a question when you're talking about, like, their pain points or whatever it is your script is. I think
Okay.
it's an easy way to sneak it in. And if they become a lead, just you'll have another CRM, I'm sure, for real estate, just, like, add their information to the real estate CRM, now they're a lead there,
Okay.
and it's perfect.
Yeah, I think that's been a draw like a fail point for me is lack of follow up on the opportunities because like I think I have done a decent job of like sneaking in right at the end and kind of like presenting that option and they semi open to it, but then I don't follow up with them afterwards. Like a week, a month later,
Yeah,
there's
because there's
no
no CRM for it.
there's no
Yeah,
CRM, there's no automation to follow up, so there's no contact afterwards unless I specifically remember,
yeah.
which is tough to do when we're doing everything else. So um, it's probably best to just already get started with getting organized on a CRM so that I can start putting them in there and you know
Yeah.
get them
Dude,
on
you know what
file.
I think might be even easier for you? I still think you should do the cold calling, but maybe, like, not cold call as much yet. Maybe just make your CRM, build it out. Do you have one yet built out for
For
real
real
estate?
estate, no.
Um,
Podio.
yeah, I got one if I can add you to it. It's like a blank workspace, and
Hmm.
then I'll text you, like, how to clone it. So it's, like, super so you don't have to build it out because most people, you gotta build it out yourself. It's kind of annoying.
Okay.